what are the retirement income solutions that are either being considered or added to plans today?
We see a lot of different things happening in this area, and it's all in response to risks that participants are now realizing they have in retirement. So on the one hand, just allowing greater flexibility in the withdrawal options from the plan, that can be a huge help for employees. They can keep their money in the plan after they retire and have more flexibility of how they draw it out. But beyond that, annuities can be a really important strategy for many people as they retire in terms of helping them protect against that longevity risk. So annuities, both the immediate and deferred annuities, and both of those could be in the plan or facilitating to outside the plan getting to annuities. Again, we think we'll see more employees interested in annuity type option as the risk of longevity arises or outliving your assets. I think another one we see is sort of a guaranteed minimum payment benefit, in which as money's going in, a minimum payment coming out is guaranteed, in effect insured, so that employees are protected more against the downside risk of the investments.
And Barb, does it make sense to encourage employees to remain in the plan at retirement?
I think there's a lot of benefits for employees to stay in the plan. Now, a plan sponsor needs to choose if this is something they want to promote, but I think when you think from an employee perspective, it's a plan. It does have the fiduciary looking after it. So from that perspective, employees have that added protection and don't have to go search through that confusing retail marketplace where you aren't going to trust everyone.
And to the extent that a plan sponsor is focused on keeping people in the plan at retirement, what does that do to the communication or the communication challenges they may face?
I think that does add another consideration. We so often with communication focus on those active employees. As you start having more inactives in the plan, and many people already have this, it's focusing and making sure you've got communication in place that supports what your inactives may need to know about the investments and how they choose within the plan.
So as you look forward, what types of retirement income solutions are most likely to gain the greatest traction?
Yeah, it's hard to predict with that crystal ball what's going to happen. I do think we'll see a couple things though. One, we will see more employees looking for annuity type options. I really feel that employees are more sensitive to this risk of outliving their assets. So I think that's going to gain in popularity. If we actually look at what may get built into the plan, where we might see more traction is some of these guaranteed minimums. That's because it gives some protection that employers are looking for, especially as they're looking at the asset accumulation. Another thing we may see though, these options are really tough choices. Again, we're putting tough choices in front of the employees. We may see more embedded in things like your custom target strategies.
So Chris, what's your view on the retirement income solutions that are in the market today?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do, Stacy, with respect to the solutions that are in place today is recognize that a lot of the structures and a lot of the designs have been present in the individual side or the retail side of the investment and insurance marketplace for in some cases, decades. In particular, with respect to the corporate defined contribution plan environment, many of these concepts are brand new, and people who are providing them are working through the nascent issues of how do we deal with things like portability, complete participant experience, and things of that nature. So with that as a background, I'd say my view today is that of the many designs that are out there, the ones that are enjoying the greatest amount of uptake are the Guaranteed Living Withdrawal Benefit designs, or the GLWB designs. The second element that appears to be enjoying some take-up is the investment-only structure. So where you're using a combination of bonds or other fixed income and tips to create the income stream, but without necessarily the lifetime guarantee. I think the third type of design that we see a lot of interest around but yet no uptake is the hybrid design, where there's an integration of the investment strategy with the insurance elements, and the insurance elements aren't necessarily externally visible to the participants or the plan sponsors. So there's a great deal of design interest around those elements, but to date, no take-up. Unfortunately, the vehicle that is near and dear to many of the people in the insurance industry that we see as being financially efficient is the fixed annuity design, but there I think we see that the credit issues, the credit default issues are somewhat curtailing the take-up of that, in particular given the recent events in the market.
What needs to happen to bring more retirement income solutions, particularly the insurance, into plans?
Well, I think, Stacy, from our perspective, we see the need for three things to occur before acceptance becomes more widespread. The first is going to be a clean and clear way to address the single-party insurer risk that many people are concerned about today. The second, we believe, is a standardization amongst the designs. Today, there are a variety of designs, all with their own nuances, which makes it extremely complicated for plan sponsors and their consultants to understand. The second is, along with that standardization, there will become standardization along record keeping, other administrative practices, participant education, participant tools. All of these things we believe are necessary to accelerate the adoption curve for the insured vehicles.
So in working with a plan sponsor, if you were to suggest what they may want to do to help their participants in the retirement income side, whether with insurance or without, what are some of the things that you might suggest that they think about?
Well, I think for the plan sponsors, I would at least have them think about two things. One is on the education side. Make sure that they provide some materials to their participants to help them understand the risks that they're going to face. In particular, the ones that they might not be familiar with as they prepare for and enter retirement. So the risks around the timing of their retirement, the impact the volatility might have on their outcomes, and how they might generate retirement income. So as a participant, most people focus their energies on their job. They don't focus their energies on their financial plan or their retirement plan or how they're going to generate retirement income. So a plan sponsor can provide a great deal of benefit to their participants by giving them the education, the knowledge to understand what it is they're going to face. I think the other thing to keep in mind for the plan sponsor, the second item, is to then obviously consider options that would allow the participants to make use of an institutional option that may have been vetted through a sound fiduciary process or would have been vetted through a sound fiduciary process that would then enable the participants to take advantage of all the education that they've been provided. So whether that is an investment-based replacement income fund type of vehicle, or whether it's an insurance-oriented vehicle, I think a sponsor providing availability of an option like that to a plan participant would be beneficial.
And what about staying in the plan?
From the perspective of the participant, I think there's clearly benefits to staying in the plan. You'll have an institutionally priced product. You'll have the comfort or the benefit of knowing that a vetting process, a fiduciary process has been applied to select the products, and therefore the providers of those vehicles will likely be present during the time when you need them the most. And then I think from the institution's perspective or the plan sponsor's perspective, there's also the potential benefit that it may lower investment expenses related to the plan. So there's at least two aspects there from that perspective.
So a benefit both to the participant as well as to the plan.
Correct. We believe so, yes.
Great.